Let's be honest. Sweatshirt isn't exactly the most appealing name for a piece of clothing. I mean, who hears that and thinks, yes, I'd love to wear something associated with sweat? Yet somehow, sweatshirts have become one of the most popular and comfortable items in modern fashion. So why are they called that in the first place? Were they actually designed for sweating? And how did something so practical turn into a global style staple? Let's break it down, right here, on History of Simple Things. The story of the sweatshirt begins in the early 20th century, during a time when sportswear was not very comfortable. Athletes, especially football players, used to train in heavy wool uniforms. These were thick, itchy, and terrible at handling moisture. Imagine running full speed while wrapped in what basically feels like a damp blanket. It wasn't ideal. In the 1920s, a major shift happened thanks to Benjamin Russell Jr., the son of a clothing manufacturer. Legend has it that he was tired of wearing those uncomfortable wool jerseys during football practice. So his father's company, Russell Manufacturing Company, created a new type of athletic top made from cotton instead of wool. This new garment was softer, more breathable, and much better at absorbing sweat. And that's the key. It wasn't called a sweatshirt because it made you sweat. It was designed to deal with sweat. The name itself is actually pretty straightforward once you think about it. It's a combination of two words, sweat and shirt. Shirt is obvious. It's something you wear on your upper body. But sweat refers to the garment's function. These shirts were specifically made to absorb perspiration during physical activity. Cotton fabric was ideal for this because it could soak up moisture and keep it away from the skin, at least better than wool at the time. So a sweatshirt is literally a shirt designed for sweat. Interestingly, this naming style wasn't unique. Around the same time, you also get terms like sweatpants, which followed the same logic. These were practical, no-nonsense names that described exactly what the clothing was for. Originally, sweatshirts were strictly athletic gear. They were worn by football players, track athletes, and eventually college teams. But something interesting happened in the mid-20th century. They started leaving the sports field. By the 1930s and 1940s, sweatshirts became popular among college students, especially in the United States. Universities began printing their names and logos on them, turning them into a kind of casual identity piece. Suddenly, you weren't just wearing a comfortable shirt, you were representing your school. This shift marked the beginning of the sweatshirt's transformation from functional sportswear to everyday clothing. Fast forward to the 1970s and 1980s, and sweatshirts exploded in popularity. This was the era of fitness culture, jogging, and casual fashion. People wanted clothes that were comfortable, relaxed, and easy to wear, and sweatshirts fit perfectly. At the same time, they became closely tied to youth culture. Movies, music, and streetwear all embraced the sweatshirt. It was no longer just about sweating, it was about style, identity, and comfort. And here's the ironic part. Most people wearing sweatshirts at this point weren't even exercising. The name stayed the same, but the meaning evolved. Even though the original sweatshirts were made from basic cotton, modern versions have come a long way. Today you'll find blends of cotton and polyester, fleece linings, moisture-wicking fabrics, and even high-tech performance materials. Ironically, many modern sweatshirts are actually designed to keep you warm rather than handle sweat. Some even trap heat, making you sweat more, which flips the original purpose on its head. But despite all these changes, the name sweatshirt stuck. It's one of those terms that became so common, no one really questioned it anymore. Now, you might be wondering, what about hoodies? Are they the same thing? Technically, a hoodie is just a type of sweatshirt with a hood. The basic idea is the same: soft fabric, long sleeves, and a focus on comfort. Hoodies came later, gaining popularity in the 1930s for workers in cold environments and eventually becoming a fashion icon in their own right. So while all hoodies are sweatshirts, not all sweatshirts are hoodies. You'd think that as sweatshirts became more about fashion than function, someone might have tried to rename them, but language doesn't always work that way. Once a term becomes widely accepted, it tends to stick, even if the original meaning fades. Think about things like dialing a phone number, even though phones don't have dials anymore. Sweatshirt works the same way. It's a linguistic leftover from its original purpose. Plus, let's be real, it's simple, descriptive, and easy to remember. That's probably why no one bothered changing it. Okay, now, if you've ever looked closely at some sweatshirts, you might notice a small triangle stitched just below the collar. That detail is called a V-stitch or V-notch, and it actually comes from early athletic design. Originally, it was made from ribbed fabric and served a practical purpose. It helped absorb sweat around the neckline, which is one of the areas where people sweat the most during physical activity. It also added a bit of stretch, making it easier to pull the sweatshirt over your head without losing shape. Today, that triangle is mostly decorative. Many modern sweatshirts don't need it anymore thanks to better fabrics and construction methods, but the design stuck around as a nod to the garment's athletic roots. It's one of those tiny details that quietly carries a piece of history. So why is it called a sweatshirt? Because it was originally designed to handle sweat, plain and simple. What started as a practical solution for uncomfortable athletic wear turned into one of the most versatile and beloved pieces of clothing in the world. Today, sweatshirts are everywhere. You wear them to relax, to go out, to stay warm, or just to feel comfortable. And even though most of us aren't wearing them to train like athletes from the 1920s, the name is a reminder of where it all began. It's a small detail, but it tells a bigger story about how function shapes design and how design eventually becomes culture. And next time you throw on a sweatshirt, just remember, it was built for sweat, but stayed for comfort. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.